Okay, alright. Okay, alright, right on. So, yeah, hello, hi, how you doing? I'm here, you're here, it's all good. This is the one we're gonna do. You might know this already, in case I got you. You might know this already, but, now we're gonna do it by folding, a little different. So, first we're gonna have to get our pentagons going. That's pretty much the way it's gonna be. I guess I should ask if I should do this in Spanish or English. But, there's good days, there's bad days, and there's weird days, and today is a weird one. And comes and goes, moments. I don't know, man. I fall for the traps I lay for myself. Over and over again. Very frustrating, very debilitating. But hey, should I just keep doing things even though I'm not explaining them? Wow. Is it inconsiderate of me to just start like that? It's like, oh, it's 4:30, just start. Yeah, sorry. But I should be explaining a little bit, right? So it was at this point that we did a perpendicular. And this point you get it by diagonal of a 2x1 diagonal. This angle bisected, this angle bisected, where that intersection happens. You do a perpendicular, you fold by half, you copy it. Now you got it on both sides. And so these represent our pentagon. And now we take it from that point, we pivot so that the other line, right, the other point hits on the edge of the square. That's the idea. Just checking that I'm actually at the corner there, and just checking that the other one is actually touching the square. And then from here I do the bounce, right? Remember the bounce from yesterday? So that way you can just copy the fold onto. And you can extend if you so please. And in this extension, actually, we can just, actually check that it works, that it's landing where we want it to land, that it's coming from where we want it to come from. If that's checked out, so then it should work. So keep this mountain, keep this a valley, and then we start spinning. And so the idea now is to actually see that touch the edge of the square. We unfold because we need it. We fold over there because we need it. And this way we actually get this, right? So now we open the cave. We fold one way. We can use this as a reference guide. And then we can use the fold we already have there to sort of descend the other way. And then one way, and then the other. And if we did it right, we don't get to see the other layers go out, so this looks right for once, right? Shit. So now we take our little guillotine here, how y'all doing today? This fine, what is it, Wednesday? It's game night, baby. But no games, only quarantine, right? Ah, Jesus. Here we go. So yeah, let's, oh, wait a minute. Just to verify some things. Oh, we just saw the comments. Yeah, we'll do this again right now. Because this is important. Once you get the pentagon going, then everything else just falls into place. And just to show you that this is the biggest pentagon that you can get from a square, which is what I like about it. It's exact. You get the biggest pentagon, as you can see, from a square. Which is pretty dope, it's pretty decent. As you can see, the edges actually touch the edge of the square, right? And so that's the highest it'll go. All odd number polygons, if you do this, like match it to the maximum of the edge, you know, aligning it, they never touch the ceiling, so to say. But, let's do this again, just if you guys are just joining us, we'll do this again. Okay, so we started by folding it in half like this. And then we go diagonal. So it's one corner to the other corner. Just make sure that your corners are spiky, make sure that everything, you know, is where it should be. So now we have to bisect this one and bisect this one. So this we bisect, and this we bisect. So now we have these two intersections. No, sorry, this one intersection. And at that intersection, we need to fold the perpendicular. So what I'd like to do is turn it over so my fold is on the other side. So if these two are mountains, then the fold I'm going to do in this one will be the opposite. Somehow I think that's easier to see, and it's also easier to sort of summon this sort of, like, I don't know why, but I guess I can see it better when it's a valley. Also, you can sort of, you know, raise the paper a little bit actually to see where the intersection is at. See that pinch? So that's my excuse. You know, if you do this and you have any doubts, you can just, you know, raise that and just see that it actually is at the intersection, right? So this one, for instance, is not. So I gotta push down a little bit further, make sure that it matches. See, that looks better. See how they coincide and therefore can freely move. Okay, so that one's right. Way to go. Points. I'm not gonna say point for Gryffindor. I just found out that apparently Emma Watson dropped out of college because they were bullying her. You know Emma Watson, that actress that played Hermione Granger in those Harry Potter movies? She wanted to be normal and shit. So she went to college, I don't know where. And every time she, like, it's kind of funny, but it's sad. But every time she would, like, answer a question or raise her hand or get something right, somebody would, like, whisper to somebody else, 5 points for Gryffindor. Every single time. Can you imagine how annoying that must be? So yeah, she decided to become an actress activist. Because yeah, you gotta do something, right? So see, what I did now is I just checked that I'm doing a fold at where these lines touch the edge. So I have these two opposing sort of columns, right? So these two represent my vertices of the pentagon. And so taking that into account, then this is going to be an edge of the pentagon, and now I gotta find where it lands on my square. So I just put it on the edge of the square. It's pretty much how it goes. And so what I do next is I fold this the other way, so I have it both ways. Remember that movie, Both Ways is the Only Way I Want It, I think? No. Is that the name of the movie, or is that the name of a book? For some reason I thought of Marilyn Monroe. You ever see that movie, Some Like It Hot? So I fold like this, and then I see the fold, this is the half fold, right? This is the fold that goes right between. So I fold onto the edge, and then this is a fold in between. I use that as a mirror, as a bounce. And then I descend. See that? And there I copy to hit on my thing that we copied here. So these two should match. It's very important that these two actually match and they actually hit where we want it to hit. If they don't hit where we want it to hit, it's no use. And a mistake will pop up and that will be, you know, to our detriment. Might mean total collapse. Okay. We got that. So cool. Now we gotta combine, we gotta, you know, spin this around. So I keep this as a mountain, keep that as a valley. You know, sometimes the polygon construction can take even longer than the whatever construction you're doing. Especially with my style of folding, it's just very time consuming, so I fold every line instead of trying to bounce it and overlapping and try to find time. But, you know, everybody's got nothing but time, so hey, who knew, right? Anyway, so now with the extended lines, this one is actually going to fall on this middle line, but you can use that reference, or you can just, as you descend, just mind where this falls on the edge. And then this one, which was the one that we extended, we change that into a valley, which is, you know, it's a mountain, and we put it down. And then this is a mountain, we want it to be a valley, so it spins, so we spin it the other way. And if we did it right, you know, all edges should match. We turn it over, and we see that all layers kind of go through this middle point here. I'm sort of just squishing just to get things into the proper perspective, proper whatever. Yeah, you get it, right? Would you rather have this in Spanish or English? Somehow I feel that English just works because a lot of you speak English, but I'm looking at my stats and most of you live in Mexico. You know, a lot of the people that are active in the live streams actually are not from Mexico, so there you go. I don't know. Makes you wonder. Yeah, let me know what I can do so that you enjoy it more, right? So this is just the first step, man. Like, we're just starting. Like, we're not even starting yet. This is just a setup. It's like I'm telling you a joke and I'm just saying knock knock. It's just a setup, man. Anyway. I just saw the comments that saying slow down. I'm sorry. Yeah, now I'm crazy. So yeah, I'm looking at the comments now. Sarah, is that fine? Did we get it? You missed a key step, huh? I wonder where that was. So just to recap. Well, the whole point is that you follow, so might as well. Start over. By the way, this is the idea. This is what we're going for today. This is what we're gonna do. At least the pattern itself. Maybe not the you know, the bouncy things, but definitely. Oh yeah, this is not. Yeah, whatever. Folding in half. Step one. I should keep this written down here somewhat. I actually could do that, so I'm just gonna do that. Wait, no, this is not properly oriented. The camera is facing another way. Right. Well, that's not gonna have to dry. No, it won't. See, these are the technical issues that we're sort of, yeah, whatever. Oof, I used to be so good at writing sideways and backwards. So that's step one. Fold it in half. Step two, diagonal. Oh man, you guys are gonna hate me for this. Well, no, because then we're gonna actually do it and it's actually engaging and the what have yous. Whatever. I wish I didn't care. I wish I didn't care about anything. I wish I could just stop existing to some extent. Alas. I'll get my wish. I just have to be patient. But hey, I'm at the rockstar age, so you know, if I die in this year, then I'm part of the club. Finally, I'll be part of the club. Ah, yeah, right. Anyway, bisect. keep my suicidal tendencies to myself. Out of, how do you do an S? I'll hate myself for this later, but yeah, whatever. So now we have this intersection here. Yeah. Very important. So now I turn it over. And then at that point I fold. At that point, at that intersection, I fold the other way, fold down. Just making sure that it's actually at that intersection right now because of the ink. I'm getting sort of lost there. So 4. Intersection. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I'll pretend that it's all good. Intersection. Yeah, you know, make a right angle. At the intersection, make a right angle. Yeah? So a right angle relative to the square we're folding. So now we fold this in half. I'm just going to close the window because I don't know why they decided to cut grass at this time of day. Oh wait, the machine is dying down. Yeah. Entonces en español o en inglés, o da igual, nada más con que lo esté haciendo así, puedo debrayar en español y decir lo que sea, y luego en inglés ya me pongo así, no, sí, you know, the perpendicular. Y así lo que sea, pero bueno, da igual, ¿verdad? After that, you put, this I'm doing just to get, you know, properly arranged. So this way, I'm just, as you notice, I'm just touching this here, and then I'm going to pivot. I'm going to pivot in such a way that the other edge, yeah, I'm going to close the window. You gotta do something, right? You gotta do something with your day. So this works because between these 2 points is gonna be the edge of a pentagon. You fold over on the other edge, and so therefore, at that point right there, that's another vertex of our pentagon. But we need this to bounce, so yeah, the bounce up, bounce down, and this way I'm gonna copy it, and if I did it right, it should fall on the other one. But see, it didn't fall on the other one, so why is that? So, you know, you gotta fact check, right? You gotta, you know, even though you did it, you can't be too sure of what's what, so every now and again it's good to sort of go back and be like, hey, maybe I'm wrong. And, you know, more often than not, you actually are wrong, so ain't that nice, ain't that beautiful? I love being wrong, man, it just goes to show. I love being wrong because then it just, you know, it reminds me that everybody is wrong with me, and it's something we can share. I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna just erase this because I stopped halfway and then I did some more steps that I didn't write down, so this is just gonna be confusing now. But hey, we can draw little fun things, right? Maybe next time. So I'm just gonna check the comments. You got it? Everybody's got it? Okay, that is what I missed before. Beautiful. Right on. So now we're spinning it. You guys know about like stand-up comedy and all this phenomena of people actually going on microphones and being like, yeah, you know what's true? And they're just like spewing whatever it is their version of reality is. I don't know if they're looking for sympathy or attention, or I know I was looking just to get myself a rush that I'm pathetic. Because it's amazing when you're like super mega embarrassed of who you are as a person. It's just like it's like an out-of-body experience. It's like, you know, when you bomb, oh Lord, it's just some next level. I don't know how to even explain the sensation. But it is one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had. See, I did this one wrong because I'm talking about Nonsense. So you know what, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm gonna fix this one and go on right on to the next one. But the question would now be, why did this one turn out wrong? And to answer that, I will have to go back to here. When I did this, I can actually see how this line doesn't match with the edge of the square. So I know that either my columns are off by a little bit, or something in my spin right now was actually wrong. So it could be this from here on out, you know, this could be enough to get me into trouble. And see, for instance, right there. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that could go wrong with this method, but it's a very meticulous step-by-step process. But you get close, you know, if you get it wrong, you get still close. But if you get it right, you know, you're perfect. But if you get it wrong, then, you know, and Godspeed. But yeah, I don't know. Self-loathing, huh? Ain't that the truth? See, that's all wrong. They should be matching. So it matches on one side, not the other. So there's a definite. Yeah, no, this needs to be fixed. But you know, I'll waste no more time. All right, we got a pentagon. Let's pretend that the last one went fine. Yeah, cool. All right. We have two of them, so yeah, whatever. So if we do this pattern, we're gonna do this one just to remind you what we're going for. To do this one, we have the stars and whatnot. So just to break it down, we have a tenfold at the center, we have tenfold at the corner. So first off, we need to get our tenfold going on. So we have our radii folded like this, right? So now the idea being that we have to isolate each of these little pockets, little caves there. And so when you take each of these down, just make sure that, you know, that, like, I call this the spine. So the spine just falls in the middle there. So we're bisecting. So now we're bisecting, of multiplying, of dividing. So it's that sort of inversion. And, you know, we do that for all of them. Y pues sí, ¿no? Ahí vamos, repetimos y repetimos y hacemos y vamos doblando, casual, tranquilo, no pasa nada. Lo bonito es de que todo lo bueno toma tiempo, ¿no? Entonces si tú haces algo que te toma esfuerzo, lo disfrutas más. Y a veces conviene dejar que las cosas como que se cocinen, que se en tu mente y en la realidad como que agarran otro color y tono y forma, y pues al final quizá te guste más, tal vez lo cuestes de más, ¿no? Se puede, están las dos cosas, hay que saber cuándo detenerse y cuándo persistir. Es delicado, balance. So once we've done that, right, we have our tenfold at the center. So that means that we have 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that then in my other hand I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because it's odd, one side will be complete and the other side will be open. And I'm not gonna cut it. I could cut it right here and get a deck again, but I'm gonna stick to my pentagon. Right? So now what we need to do is divide, make centers on the corners. Right? So we need to divide this into tenfold, each of the corners a tenfold. So it just so happens, very conveniently, that if we just fold a 5-2 star, so that is that every two vertices we draw a line, fold in our case, we get one of those divisions. See how it goes from a vertex all the way to the other side? And when I fold, I'll find, you know, there's certain relationships. For instance, this one hits this one will hit that one. You see that? Sort of these, it bounces. You can actually fold, like here you could actually fold this down and it will print sort of like that fold into the back side. So there's a lot of possibility, but I'm not gonna go into that right now. So everything's a possible door. Everything could be just a pathway to infinity. It's just so overwhelming. But at the same time, you know, it should be chaotic enough that you sort of want to figure out something. There's plenty to figure out yet. I'm just one person, right? But you do something all day, every day, and all of a sudden you're good at it. Who knew? So you see what I'm doing? So I went for the other one, corner to corner, and it just so happens that it'll fall onto itself. So the fiveness has this very interesting property. All polygons have this interesting property where it's like n, that's how many sides it has, minus 2. It's pretty much like a given thing. So in our case, we have 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So that is how many triangles. So just to put an example here. So I have 5, so this is n5, and if I go then from one point like that, I've just trisected. I just went 1, 2, and 3. Right? So that's basically the idea. If we go for 6, we go 1, 2, 3, and 4. How is that a 4? There we go. No, that's not a 4. Oh well. Sorry. I like to make fun of myself. Anyway, n minus 2, that's how many triangles it has. So in this case, 1, 2, 3. But because we're going for 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Makes no sense because we're working on a pentagon. If it were a decagon, it'd be different. But we're just bisecting. We're just cutting in half. I'm gonna take away this example of the hexagon, so not to confuse. I have to go with the moist one and then the dry one, so I don't ruin whatever it is I'm doing over there. All right, cool. So just as I did there, we need to keep on going. So the advantage is, as we can see, is that once we fold one of these, the 5-2 ones, the next will fall onto that one. So as you can see here, that falls onto that one. See that? So that's part of like the trisection, because it'll hug itself perfectly, right? Like you ever go to the movies and they have these crepes, and they'll give it to you in like a thing like this, right? You can have a thing, and then there's where the crepe goes, sort of like that, I suppose. And then we have this. We fold the other way. That's a bisection, and it just so happens that this one falls right on the line, right? So 1, and the other way as well. So that way there's no overlap. And we can actually see some of the figures from patterns. You'll see them as you be folding. You'll find things. All right, so this is done, right? Done, done, not done. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This for trisection only works in pentagons. So if you have an irregular pentagon, you do this, it won't be, the angles won't be the same. Although this is a very natural way of getting a trisection. It's just there. This one didn't have this half division. So all this is necessary, sort of. But we can actually skip some of this, but I like to do it because it's what gives the stars its charm. So once we have all of them, you'll see that this one will actually fall on the intersection of these two. So in that point, you'll see that this one falls there. And what we could actually also do is, once we have that fold, the star fold, the 5-2 fold, we can just fold one way onto that folded line, and then we unfold and we do the other line. You see that? So now we've tallied, we checked, we've done on all sides. And then over there. Yeah. So a lot of things could be popping out at you. You could actually start seeing the pentagons, those little slightly pentagons there. You see it's just missing one more line and it'll be a pentagon. I don't know if you guys can see it as well as I do, but there's a pentagon waiting to happen right there. But that's not what we want. What we want is right here. So our pattern involves, just so we can check here, we have our centers, and then we have this division by 10. So it's right here, and then it goes. This shoots up, connects here, and then shoots back down. So at the half line, so right here, that's what our pattern is going to be. So we can actually fold this onto the center, right? You can actually get the petal. This is a pentagonal petal. There's a pattern that's very famous, not a pattern, but like a folded thing you can do with fourfold, I suppose. Following this sort of logic, where you get petals. Because this applies also for, well, I can actually show you here. Can I? Sort of, I guess. Not really. No, let's keep that to ourselves. Anyway, but this is the pentagonal petal. We're not going to do this for a pattern, just to show you how this is there. In, out, that bounce. But anyway, we want this point right here. That's our focus. So we have to do this for all of them. So all corners to the center now. I'm going to write this in the background so it doesn't distract. But that's the internal angle theorem, I think. The internal angle of a polygon theorem. I'm going to do this step, and then I'm going to check some comments, see if you guys have any doubts, how we're doing. Let's see now. I'm going to be doing it as I look at the comments. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to go on YouTube, people. Hells yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Yep. You guys doing great? English, please. English it'll be. Hells yeah. Alright, you got it. So all corners to the center here. And I don't know how hot it is where you are, but right now I'm cooking. I'm sweating. That's a part of life. Hey, no, the Rona ain't gonna get me. I'm gonna burn it. It'll cook. Anyway. This is our center point. So you see how that happens? So, what I want you also to notice is that just between, right there, that means that right here, that's a division point. And it's just the same angle as the one we have here. Right? So at this point, we need to have a 10-fold angle. And see if we can see where it hits. Oh, look at that. It just so happens, right, that line that goes through it at that angle is just gonna hit right here. So what that means is that we're gonna actually find the relationship between folding it onto that line. Let's see where it is. Let's go for the complete one. Let's see where it falls. It's that one, and then it's this one. Interesting, it doesn't seem... Oh, there it is. There it is. Yep. So you see that? You see how this line right here? That's part of the radial lines that we did. And so it's the edge, and then it falls perfectly on that middle. So, edge, and then it falls, wait a minute, here. Right on the 5-2 star. And we'll also see that this line matches with that line, with this radial line as well. See how that one touches? I don't know if you guys can see or not, but there it is. So, boom. Just to be clear, we can actually do the other one as well. Get some two work done, you know. I once told a friend, you know, that phrase, 2 birds with 1 stone. He's like, nah, dude, that ain't cool, man. You don't want to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, that's nonsense. Like, that doesn't prove that you're a good shot. It's just, you know, you're a bird killer. It's like, oh, well, you make a good point. So we're just going to do all of them now. We're going to do all of them to the 5-2 at the center there. So edge there. Also, this goes to show, to some extent, how natural it is for some of these patterns to exist. How some of these patterns are just waiting there for you within these figures. And you know, the Pentagon is just full of them. You know, there's a lot of designs that you can actually start like visualizing. Once you get to see sort of like how they tend to be, you know, the world is your oyster. I don't know what that phrase means though. I don't know if an oyster is something that just keeps on giving or what. But I am a man of wealth and taste, right? So we've established at that center line, you've established that, you know, that break, and now we can actually do the bounce. We can actually bounce from here. That's one way to do it, right? Because we know that at this center, it's going to be full-on fivefold. So we can actually do some of the tricks that we did before for the fivefoldness, but I don't want to confuse you too much, and I want to actually go through the pattern first. So before I start just folding away blindly, I actually want to find where these sort of come together. So these we have, so I can actually mark those right now. So I'm just going to do that. Where is my pen? I'll try to put it in my backpack, so forget that. Back to the thing. Let's see if we can find a relationship here. So I fold the line that we're missing. Doesn't seem to hit nothing. All right, no, that is something. So it's the same edge, the same pull sort of thing. So instead of stopping, it keeps going. It's weird, you know, you think you got it and then, you know, that's how it gets you. Wait a minute. I don't need to do that because it's already here. See, it's actually this line right here. This is the key. I need to get my pen. Hold on, give me a second. Might as well check counts. Alright, doing good, doing good. I got this pencil as a gift, one of my favorite gifts ever. It says, "It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine." And you know, I love that song, so it's perfect. So anyway, I'm just gonna draw this line for you guys to see. So just to recap, this is the same line that we just did, that cross here. So that's the center of our shape of our rhombuses that we wanted to establish. We're at the center. Maybe I'm getting too convoluted for a second there. I can actually hear my thoughts. So I'm going to just fold this both ways, because what I'm doing now is going to do a bounce. I'm going to bounce this at the radial line. This may be a little confusing, but the idea now is at this radial line, which is for this corner. The radial lines being, you know, the lines that shoot from corners. The one we just did hits that one. That's the one it hits. That's the one it goes the closest towards. So at that line, I'm going to fold. And then here I'm going to do my bounce. There. And there. Oh, you see that? When we combine it, see how nice that is? When we combine those two folds, how this just lines up. And we can actually also get to see this. You see that? Ah, ain't that nice? That's so satisfying. That is so satisfying. I love this. You know, I'm tempted just to keep on like going this way, because it's just gonna fall. It's probably gonna be useful. I'm just gonna fold it. Might be useful. Yeah, definitely will. You see how this is actually starting to look like the Kayas? So this is going to be our Kayas. And you know, for those of you uninitiated, wait a minute. Akaya is sort of like how the pattern keeps on going. So a lot of these patterns have to do with energy flow. And these flow through channels. And those channels are called calles. And calles in Spanish means streets. So it's like if you were sort of designing streets. Right? So now I'm just copying, right? I'm just copying what one fold we just bounced to the other. Also, mind you, this one actually bounces off here. So we can actually get a double intersection there on where the bounce is. So let's just fold this one by itself. See if we can find any relationship to some other line we can just take advantage of. So what was this? This was actually the one we did. Pop, up, so that, yeah, no, but wait. I'm making the case that it's just there. So it has to be there somewhere. Like all these lines have to match with something else. And they do. Sometimes you gotta find them. For instance, this line actually touches that other line. So what line is this? This is a radial line. So this line apparently falls on this other line, which is the line of the star that we did. Maybe that's a little bit confusing. That's the only relationship right now I can find. So it's the way that these centers sort of come together. But once you have one, then it just becomes a little easier, because then you can just, once you get it to go through the center, now it's just a matter of bouncing it. So just as we did this, we can just, you know, bounce it. So for instance, if we wanted to go tenfold, that means we gotta bounce it, yeah, 10 times. But with one, you get 2. So you only have to do this 5 times. So for instance, right here, I'm doing a bounce. So I have my calle, just to keep clear. I have my calle, and then I'm gonna look for where that, right? So this is my center. This line goes through it. I fold my center. I fold a line on my center. It could be any line. Just right now I'm using this middle line. I do that bounce. I extend. And you know, you should get relationships. You should keep your eye out for any sort of, for instance, right now I corrected because I know that here I needed to hit at this intersection. So this line that I just did, this one that I just bounced, needs to hit there. It needs to. So if I don't get it there, I can just, you know, keep pushing, mine these to be parallel. Fold the center line. Fold this down. And so now we have 2 more. We keep bouncing, we keep going. So for instance, then, so that's bounce, but I can find other bounces. For instance, I can find this bounce. It looks different. Same deal, we extend. It does satisfy. Fold, fold back, you match. So it's just a matter of, you know, what's easier for you, whether it's to find these relationships or where the lines sort of like fall on top of each other, or, you know, try to go for the bounce. I think the bounce may be harder for some people, and it took me a while to get it. I don't think I get it really yet, but I can see. For instance, I know that this fold right here, so I know that this one, that I'm just like this one right here, it's already bounced with the middle line. You see that? See how those two? So that's got, I already got that one, but I can go further and see that one I got it too. But what about this one over here? I don't got this one. You see, I do have this bounce. No, I don't actually. All right, we can bounce that. So there's several bounces you can do. So that's also something that might add to the confusion. Like, which line do I bounce from? And I can see that. I can hear myself think that. So that's why I know that you guys might. Also, think that. But, you know, so right now, looking out for that. This line shoots damn straight. Alright, this and this. We can also do that to check. Once we have that, we can do the back forth, Does that make sense? This is probably useful, right? No, actually it won't be. No, actually this no, ignore that one. Or, you know, maybe not. Maybe we should just wait and do the things first. I get very impatient. Bounce, 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 bounce. Alright, so we got this bounce too. I guess this is the third, maybe, or the fourth one I do. It's gonna be 5, right? So I fold, I unfold, do the half line. See, I noticed that it's actually a little bit curved here. This fold actually turned out to be tricky. You gotta keep your eye out. So folds just like to play tricks. You want to pretend like they're curved. I have to just really get down into it. So wait a minute. You're telling me that I have to bounce everything in order to get it? I can't just look at the paper and see a relationship? Well, yeah, you know, you will see relationships. For instance, at this line that we did, the radial line, that should be a point of intersection. So you should see the stars coming together here. I should be careful with what I draw on, because we're going to actually draw, like the whole point of this is to draw on it, but so the idea is that all these lines sort of are going around the same spot. So last one, apparently. You know, if you find like relationships and they work for you, like, oh, you know, this line sort of, yeah, I can see that, then go for it. Whatever works for you. And also, you will need to see how, like, to make a line that is perpendicular to a radial line, so you can see that actually this one is always going to keep on going. So that could also be a certain point of relationship of a thing that might happen. This line will always match. So we have our center star. I'm just going to do that with the pen. Radio silence. Because I want to concentrate. I'm like, if you saw my face, I'm like sticking my tongue out. Because I read somewhere that if you stick your tongue out, that means you're concentrated and that you are determined. So also notice how I'm using just the paper as a ruler. It's not perfect, but you know, hey, it works. Also, you know, if you're feeling adventurous, you can try to get 2 colors in. So I think I have a blue pen somewhere around here. I actually don't. I have this red. Let's see how this... more or less. Not... Oh, there it is. That's my blue pen. Come on, blue pen. I believe in you. Man, Jesus Christ. So there's two circuits, there's two weaves happening. I'm right-handed, so I wish I could like show you. If I was sitting on the other side, I think I wouldn't be covering the camera as much. And you know, it's supposed to be therapeutic, right? It's supposed to be where your mind quiets, where your mind just lets go, and you're just using your eyes to sort of guide you through the steps. But you can see sort of where I'm going with this. We are still missing one line though, and I'll demonstrate. So this one keeps going, then hits, and that's where you bounce, and that's where it stops. Here too, I'm not gonna go for the ruler tactic this time. Ah, that's actually with the blue one. No, sorry. Whatever. I don't think it looks different anyway, but whatever. You know, on principle, right? No, this one's actually complete. This one. But no, we are missing one on this side though, because we do have this one. I think actually that's the line that this is the one we folded when I was doing the reduction thing. But see, this one, we can just bounce it. This one, pop. See sort of what I mean? I'm not sticking to my guns on this. I'm not sticking to the changing colors scheme, but hey, you know, if you do, more power to you. I think it looks cooler. You know. So, question would be now, how do you bounce from this one? So, this is a mountain, so we're just gonna have to change that into a valley for now. So it is useful to have some lines both ways, just in case, you know, you're gonna have to bounce. So this one, up. It's a very tiny bit. Let's see how that looks when it's folded down like this. So we can see that this line will fall on this radial line, so by that logic we can just do that on this other one. And just look out for where this hits that one. Yeah, we can also appreciate how this line just hits that one. Actually, went a little over with this one. And that allows us to do it proper. Hey, if you want to support me, I have a PayPal. I could definitely use the support right in these trying times. But hey, you know, I'm not asking. I hate, you know. You know, it's nice if you feel like, if you can afford it, you know, I appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine. I mean, I like what I do. It's not the time to plug, is it? We're not done yet. Yeah. Watch out. So this is also very inviting when you do this. At least for me, it is very inviting. Where I'll start just folding it down, trying to compress it around that edge, like so. I'm going to use the star there as a reference. And you know, it's very inviting. You know, it wants me to, hey, why don't you use me? But like, no, not right now, thank you. And that's what you gotta tell the paper sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta be like, no, thank you. Later. Or never. But you know, you gotta be the one that tells the paper what's what. With the paper, you know, if you let it, paper will lead you. And sometimes it'll lead you astray. So you can't just give in completely. You gotta hold on some agency to yourself. You see this fold that I did, I was like, no, it won't be useful, whatever. It turned out it is part of it. You see that? That's like the whole deal of this. So you see, that's how it looks combined. And also you can like take it one step further. You can actually do these a little more forward and backwards. My language processing unit there sort of skipped a beat. But see how I'm doing it with the back and the forth and the what have you. So it's like in, out, in, out. That's the basis of life. And you know, that's, yeah, in and out. That's what origami is to some extent. There's a lot of family-friendly, you know, folk in origami, so you gotta be mindful of your terminology. But hey, if you ask me, you know, you can get pretty creative with these names, if you wanted to. But see, so that basically what I'm doing right here on this edge, on this corner, I have to do on all of them. Somewhat. I spent too much time in, but we gotta figure out how we can do this for the rest of them, and not, you know, spend as much time in. So we concluded that if we combine our efforts, so I could just be ba, ba, ba. And this one actually, ba. And from here, we did say that went up. It hit that there. All right. And then we do the other one as well. Up. Yep. Up. Backwards. Backwards. This pattern folder makes no sense in this configuration, but there are ways that you can actually fold it and be like, so that's what it is. And yeah, allow me to demonstrate that point. Just a little quick detour here. So this is what we mean when we say fivefold. So the pattern is fivefold because I can get a bit of it multiplied by 5 around the center, and that's my pattern. But you know, it's kind of anticlimactic for me to do that without the rest of the pattern there. So let's see here. So this one actually is there. Let's see that. This one goes into, and then this one goes up. It comes down. Oh wait, no, shit. I missed a step there. It's very enticing because you can actually improvise patterns. You can actually improvise patterns with it, which is kind of crazy that you don't get to do that much with compass and stretch. But for instance, just as an example, I could keep this one going for here and spice it up and keep this one like this. I mean, I don't know if you can actually do this or not with the compass and stretch. You can probably do it. You can do anything with the compass and stretch. Almost anything. But, you know. So wait, what would be a natural consequence of this? Well, naturally, another one would have to come down, but whatever. This is not the one we're constructing. So we're just going to have to erase this. G. You know, you do something 1,000 times and you actually lose like the appreciation and value of it. And I've done so many things to these that whenever I showed someone, it's like, yeah, you know, it's not that good. I was like, damn, dude, I've never seen that before. It's pretty awesome. I was like, hey, is it though? Is it though? But maybe it's just my